David, a once celebrated author, is currently experiencing a difficult phase in his life. He is grappling with a debilitating case of writer's block, unable to put words to paper, and the recent end of his marriage has left him feeling empty and alone. Desperate for a change of scenery and a chance to clear his mind, he retreats to a secluded cabin in the woods. The cabin, nestled deep in the forest, is supposed to be his sanctuary, a place for him to focus on his writing and heal from the emotional turmoil of his divorce. But just as he begins to find solace in the tranquility of the forest, his solitude is interrupted by a knock on the door. It's a stranger, Frank, who arrives unannounced, accusing David of plagiarism, claiming that David's latest book is a copy of a story he wrote and submitted to David's publisher years ago. David, confused and shocked, tries to make sense of Frank's accusations, but Frank is persistent, leaving David questioning his own memories and writing process. With a growing sense of unease, David begins his investigation into Frank's accusations of plagiarism. He starts by rereading his own book, carefully comparing it to Frank's manuscript. As he reads, he takes note of any similarities and inconsistencies, trying to make sense of the confusing situation. His initial skepticism turns into confusion as he notices more and more similarities between the two stories. David starts to question his own memories and writing process, as he can't remember if he had stolen Frank's story or if he had just forgotten about it. He starts to notice clues that lead him to believe that Frank may not be who he says he is and that there may be a hidden agenda behind his accusations. David becomes determined to uncover the truth and clear his name. He starts to dig deeper into Frank's background and his past. David starts to suspect that Frank may have a hidden motive for accusing him of plagiarism, and that he may be hiding something. With a renewed sense of purpose, David sets out to uncover the truth, determined to clear his name, restore his reputation, and find out the real reason behind Frank's accusation. As David continues his investigation, he starts to gather more information about Frank and his past. He visits a local bookstore, where he meets Sarah, the owner, who tells him about a similar case of plagiarism that occurred in the past involving Frank. This revelation only deepens David's suspicions about Frank's true intentions. He becomes more determined to uncover the truth and sets out to dig deeper into Frank's background. He discovers that Frank has a murky past, with a history of criminal activities and several aliases. He starts to piece together the puzzle and starts to realize that Frank's accusations of plagiarism may be part of a larger scheme, and that he may be working with other individuals. David starts to feel like he is getting closer to the truth, but he also starts to feel like he is being watched and followed. He starts to notice strange occurrences around his cabin, like objects being moved or tampered with, which makes him feel like his safety is at risk. David starts to become paranoid and starts to question his own safety as he continues his investigation. As David's investigation comes to a head, he is faced with a shocking revelation about Frank and the true nature of the plagiarism. David discovers that Frank is not a real person but an alter ego of his own, created by his own mind as a way to cope with his writer's block and the guilt he feels for not being able to write. David is stunned and struggles to process this revelation. He starts to remember instances of blackouts, moments where he couldn't recall his own actions. David must come to terms with the fact that he has been living with a dissociative disorder and that he is responsible for the plagiarism. He must confront his alter ego and put an end to its actions. David's journey is a story of self-discovery and redemption as he is able to overcome his inner demons and regain control of his mind.